Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Letterbox Book Club. My name is Mackenzie,
And my name is Claire.
and today we are talking about Zodiac Academy 2 Ruthless Fae.
Yes, the lovely sequel, or second of many.
Thoughts, feelings, emotions, Claire.
Read the blurb first, Kenzie.
I forgot about the blurb. And then I'm just going to talk at you. Alright, this one's short. They tried to break us, they almost did, but we're not going anywhere. The Celestial Heirs think the stars are on their side, but they don't know what's coming. Fighting them one-on-one isn't an option, so we have to be stealthy. Remaining under the radar won't be easy, but if we pull it off, they'll never suspect our involvement when their lives start falling apart. Besides, they've already taken us to the brink of hell. What more can they really do?
Wonderful. All right, I will continue. I'll kick us off with our thoughts, feelings, and emotions then,
Thank
while
you.
you eat your food. But I'm also ironically going to make it short, sharp, and sweet because I feel like I over-explain everything and then we just talk about plot anyway. But thoughts, feels, and emotions. I loved Tori and Darcy's defiance and revenge in this book. I don't like or understand Pitbull to any degree. Feel like there was too many chapters surrounding Pitbull, but and I'll leave it at that. That's my short, sharp, sweet thoughts, feelings, and emotions. What about you, Kenzie? Talk at me, talk away.
I enjoyed it. It kept me entertained. It kept me interested in what was going on. Yeah, I'm also on the same. Oh my god, I'm bleeding so much. Hang on, sorry.
What happened?
I don't know.
Jesus. Oh, damn, you're in the wars, man.
Oh my god, I was just like was itchy and I reached down and I'm just bleeding. Okay. Yeah, I am with you where I don't understand Pitbull and I don't think I need to or want to. Okay, now I'm just gonna talk at you. Okay. So before we jump in, spoilers of course for book one and book two. Do we want a recap of book one?
No, I think we're all pretty set on what happens with book one. It's a pretty stock standard learning curve.
Alright, quick recap of Ruthless Fae. Vega twins are still hunted, still mocked, but they're not backing down. Nymph attacks are increasing, and now they can disguise themselves as other Fae. Tori and Darcy start unlocking more of their elemental powers with glimpses that they may even be stronger than the Celestial Heirs. Get deeper insight into the heirs' personal struggles, especially Darius, who's dealing with daddy issues. And things between Darcy and Orion have gone from forbidden to full-blown romance.
Still forbidden.
Still forbidden, but
They're getting their bags, I guess.
was it in this one? Do you know what their order form is?
It's not like revealed, but there's a glimpse of it in the
Okay,
nymph attack.
okay, that's okay.
I don't even remember what all the forms are, so but I assume there's something rare, or at least hasn't been seen for a while.
What do you think of the romances? Like, who do you ultimately want? Oh my god, I just remembered the spoiler that I saw last time we recorded. Anyway.
You just triggered yourself.
No!
It's so funny.
Who do you want them to end up with? Because I'm always confused because
I don't care. They make out with all of them at this point, or at the very least,
exactly.
or at the very least, Tori is kind of in and amongst. Well, no, Darcy kind of shares the load as well. I don't know, don't care really. I don't have any expectations, but going off of like Wash's love precognition thing, Darcy and Orion seem to be like super linked. But I'm also in that mindset of never trust the first love interest, you know?
Mm,
But I don't
mm.
know if that really applies in Zodiac Academy. And given Tori's reaction to Darius being almost dead in this nymph attack, I feel like they're going to be an end game of sorts, despite her and Caleb having whatever they have going on right now.
Their little game thing.
Yes, that was the game that you referenced last episode.
Yes.
Also, I got Caleb and Darcy mixed up with Caleb and Tori, of course, and I apologize for that.
That's okay, I get them all mixed up, it's fine.
I mean, it's like that friend group incest, everyone hooks up with each other sort of thing anyway.
Mm.
It's giving that.
I have written down that Darcy and Orion get discovered in this book, but I can't remember.
No, they did not, as far as I'm aware. They
Oh,
had a little makeout in the bottom of the pool. It was pretty
mm,
heated. Then nothing else, I don't think. I don't remember.
okay.
I feel like I would have, yeah, remembered something like that if that was the case. Maybe it's in book
hmm
3 or book 4 or wherever you're up to.
Mm. I'm confused. I think my notes are all over the place.
My notes are now. I should have done this back in the beginning of our podcast, where if it's a book series, I have the one note for the entire series instead of making a new note for each book and then inevitably deleting it. So now I've got my Awakening notes and then a little divider, and then now I have my Ruthless Fae, and then it's going to be one giant fuck off note when I'm inevitably done, which helps with restoring memories and figuring out, yeah, what happened when. So maybe a little advice for you next time, Kinsey.
How dare you?
Who do you think's endgame then? If you asked, since you asked me that question, like surely you have an opinion.
I can't tell you because I have the
Too,
spoiler.
too far ahead. God damn.
Yeah, I'm too
Also,
far ahead.
I thought about this earlier today. This
hmm
may not make sense. It's maybe a little theory, but like I don't really want to care about theories. But
hmm
so in the first book, Tori and Darcy, they're said to be changelings. Am I right in that, or
Yeah.
that's what they think? Okay, they're changelings.
hmm
And I forget what that manifests or what that looks like, but it reminded me that nymphs, when they attack and they take people's sort of, I guess maybe their powers and everything. So I think the species of a changeling and a nymph are not too dissimilar.
hmm
So I just think that's just been in my mind, like maybe obviously Tori and Darcy aren't entirely nymphs to a degree, but they might have a sort of link to that
mm
shadow realm in that sense.
mm
Perhaps. We get too far ahead and we can't really have these open discussions
hmm
because you know things. Ugh,
I'll stop and then
pisses me off. No, it doesn't. It's fine. You
shall
don't have
we?
to. No, no, it's good. I like it. Am I on the right track? Or is it just stupid?
No, sure.
Sure. Okay. I can't trust
hmm
anything you say. But amongst Darcy and Tori's revenge plot in this book, I did it was balanced out also with the exploring the romantic options. Again, we've got the Darcy and Orion, kind of hooking up at the council party. And then we also have Caleb and Tori hook
And
up.
Tori and Darius.
Tori and Darius have a moment.
I keep getting confused because of the like Tori and Darcy, Roxania, Gwendolina,
Oh, okay.
and then they're all like hooking up with everyone and each other.
Okay, as far as I'm aware, Darcy is linked to Orion and Seth. Tori is linked. I wouldn't, probably wouldn't say Max, but like she had that siren kiss sort of moment in this book, so she kind of did make out with Max in this book. So Tori has Max, Caleb definitely, and then obviously there's that lingering Darius thing. He's feeling some type of way about Roxy/Tori. So
So I stand by that they all should just have an orgy and get it out of their system.
I mean, technically there was an orgy in this book. You were
This is true.
correct. The wolves.
The thing that I'm struggling with in this series is I don't know who it's written for because there's the like sexy, smutty, sultry side of it, and then there's a which is giving like new adult, and then there's like the trial situation which is also giving new adult, but then there's like the pranks, and it's like I don't know, I get it, and they were like trying to get back at the heirs, but it just felt really childish to me and like almost too childish. Like these guys literally tried to kill you. Oh, oops, I'm gonna put flea powder on them, you know?
Yeah, I agree, but I guess they're just still so new and fresh in the world. They just don't know really how to fight back with their own threats of death towards them. Like they have nothing really other than their wits, like street
But
smarts, as
they,
opposed to their power.
but they are powerful. So I feel like they could have done something a little bit more elevated rather than like, yeah, the pranks and then like spreading the rumor. Although it was funny that Caleb is into Pegasus ass.
Yeah, that's funny. Um, but like I do agree with you. It's just it is a bit childish, but yeah, I think I stand by what I said. Like they have the capabilities to be just as powerful as the Celestial Heirs, as evidence from their nymph fight and everything. But I just feel like they're trying to do it in a kind of subtle way. They're not as outlandish as the heirs, and so it comes across
Mm,
as like it could have been anybody else. Because I don't think they would know that Tori and Darcy are capable of even finding a potion to create fleas, or if they're smart enough to even dare to set fire to Darius's room and stuff.
I guess,
But
yeah.
but in saying that, it did piss me off to no end that all the heirs, they were so dumbfounded as to why these things were happening to get to them, and their first thought isn't, oh, maybe the girls we've been tormenting and trying to kill and caused
Yeah,
animosity towards, maybe they're trying to get back at us. Like,
exactly.
and just like the hypocrisy, especially when Darius's room was on fire. Was it Kylie or Marguerite or whoever screaming at Tori to be like, "Help your house captain!" It's like, no, this bastard tried to kill me. I should have the right to. I refuse to help. And I'm glad she stood on business, and I'm glad that she, stayed within her defiance.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly.
And I think that's where the immaturity aspect of it comes into play too, because then yeah, you're not obligated to help anybody, but like you still want to seek sort of friendship or something between them as well. It's like no one can really hold grudges.
And then also, yeah, I was struggling with the who is it? Kylie, who used to date Seth,
Yes.
and she's like to Darcy, like she's always like, you can't have him, like he doesn't even like you, blah blah blah, and it's like he's clearly told you lots of times that you're broken up. He's not interested in you anymore. Like, well, now it's getting desperate.
And now I truly, yeah, kind of more so agree with what you're saying that actions and a lot of dialogues are quite childish because, like, yeah, why is she like being so desperate to be with the heir, even though the heir comes with its own, I guess, entitlements and privileges ultimately, but it's just whiny and
Yeah. And even like, yeah, if you were dating him or whatever, that's fine. But then he's also like, what was the word I'm looking for? Regularly. He's also regularly having these orgies with his pack. So,
oh yeah, it's
I
fine.
mean, like, what do you define as cheating? Like, that's what Kylie is like worried about or whatever.
Mm.
But it's like, yeah, pick a lane.
She has this faux mindset that they're soulmates and everything because I think it was a part of Wash's he took over Astrom's tarot reading. I
Mm,
think either he read Darcy's out loud or he read no Darcy and Kylie somehow read each other's palms. They were paired up, but there was something to do with like a love line or something, and then Kylie's like believing that Seth is her soulmate or whatever the equivalent is. And then yeah,
mm.
she's still trying to go at Darcy for it, but like at this, Darcy's not really interested.
Exactly, and Darcy has said that she's not interested in God, and they just still keep coming for it. And I'm like, what are you doing?
Whoever worked the
Oh my
last
gosh.
shift left me with so much to do.
Sorry, I had an ad come on my phone. Hello?
Interesting. Google
No,
is
it's okay.
listening. Hey
Mm.
Google. But yeah, back to your point. What's the difference between Seth having an orgy with his pack and yeah, like him not he's not really showing interest in Darcy, but like, yeah, he's not exclusively or even yeah,
Mm.
as you said, regularly
And then I
dating
didn't
Kylie.
understand. I liked it, but I didn't also understand the dynamic of how Seth made Darcy a part of his pack, and then she either had to like fight him or
Well,
like fuck him.
yeah, I didn't really understand that either, and I read that passage a couple of times. I don't know, maybe it's like a passive power he has where he just locks in and it's like maybe he compels himself in a way to think that she is a part of something that she's not.
Mm.
And like I feel like you'd have to be a part of the Wolf Order for that to happen anyway.
Yeah. But I mean, maybe because we don't know their orders, and they could
Maybe.
be like a special order
Okay.
that they could be a part of. They could be divergent, you know?
Oh yeah. Animal order divergence. I love it. And yeah, the whole like fight me or fuck me thing was like really strange because yeah, Darcy
Mm,
was only there to enact her revenge. She didn't want to. She wasn't. I didn't feel like she was aroused or she was not interested in any of this at all. She was probably curious
no.
of the wolf order dynamic,
Mm.
but she was definitely shying away from it. Yeah, it was interesting. Kind of, it does make sense because the wolf order are all up in everybody's business and affection and physical touch and all that shit. So
It's a neurodivergent person's worst nightmare.
crazy. But then, yeah, as the alpha, it's just all for him. Is he actually the alpha, or is it just an air thing?
No, he's the alpha because he does like
Okay.
control them.
Yeah, right.
But
Okay.
I feel like that might slip.
Potentially, yeah. Maybe Kylie might get sick of him, and she's like, I want to be alpha. And then they have a tussle or something. I doubt it. I don't think it's that. Kylie is that character that's just the annoying, whiny, kind of, yeah, ex-girlfriend that won't get over, I guess, Seth moving on, and she'll always.
Sethy.
Yeah, Sethy. Oh, I hate it. And she'll always be I'm going after Darcy, even though Darcy at this point shows no interest at all in Seth.
Yeah, because I have the graphic audio.
Hmm.
Like she's so whiny.
I can imagine it in my
Yeah.
mind.
Sethy.
All right, so yes, Darcy enacts her revenge on Seth by applying, setting fleas amongst him, and then that's a
Mm.
whole new set of humiliation and embarrassment in itself. He's for a moment like slightly ostracized by the pack because it's fleas, they're contagious and they're itchy, and it's just unbecoming of an heir and of someone who's an alpha of the wolf order. Now, good old mate Max. Max's revenge was quite interesting. Tori was lured one night as a part of his siren song. There's no choice in the matter of who gets picked.
Mm.
I forget how regular it happens. It's like
Um, I feel like not that often.
no. Um Anyway, Tori is somehow chosen by the magic of the siren song, and she is
Magic.
compelled or lured into I don't know, like a I don't know, just like a lakeside. Max is chilling on a rock, and they can't do anything unless they have a bit of a smooch because it's part of the siren song and the siren aesthetic. And an interesting facet of this magic is instead of the siren being Max being able to utilize and see into memories and manipulate emotions, it was placed on the siren's victim, I guess. So Tori got
Mm.
to have a taste of
Yes.
Max, which I loved. Just like
Yes.
the
Which,
concept of the revenge aspect, yeah, because he's been a real sort of prick in book one. So I was glad that he got a taste of his own medicine, literally.
yeah, and so now she has this big secret over him that he is the result of an affair.
Yes, he's like a bastard son.
Yeah, so he's a bastard heir, so no one can know that. That would be very bad.
No, so I love this blackmail element to it too. And
Mm.
there was something. What happened? I think the heirs targeted Diego for something, and Tori was like to Max. She mentioned something about secrets, and then he just kind of flooded back to normal real quick.
Mm.
So blackmailing Max is a fun endeavor to be had. I can't wait to see her use it against him more.
I'm very excited to see what comes of it.
Yes. But given the direction of how the heirs in general, I feel like they won't. really care if it is ever revealed or when it's
Mm.
revealed because they love him like a brother anyway, and they've known him no differently. So
I wonder about that because yes, yeah, they've been raised together, they love each other, but also they are very obsessed with bloodlines. So could like the order of the way things are become more important than, well, he's my brother. Because Max also does feel like the weakest of the game.
yeah, I bet.
Like not even just in term, like not just in terms of power, but like or maybe it still is being built up, but like we haven't gotten a lot of him yet.
No, he's just kind of there, and he's
Mm.
doing a little
It's like me and you and you and me, just us and your friend Steve. Do 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 do.
Steve. Yeah, I feel like in comparison, the Siren is definitely a weaker order and just a fantasy archetype anyway, because there's not much you can really
Mm.
do with it compared to a dragon, a werewolf, or a vampire.
I mean, like you can. The traditional sense of a siren is that like you get them in your thrall, though. So
Yeah, and there's the capacity to kill them too. But
yeah.
they seem to be really nerfed in this book because even with the siren song, the siren would have the right to kill whoever they lured because they're really prideful and really apprehensive of their secrets being let out. So, but there's
Mm,
new laws now that sirens cannot do that.
mm. So there's that little revenge situation, and then we also get, yes, the rumor that Caleb is into Pegasus. I liked all the I did enjoy the Fae book stuff
Oh yeah, yeah,
about Caleb being into Pegasus ass. And then like the sex doll and stuff getting sent to his.
yeah. That was so funny. Yeah, Tori and Darcy setting that up, and then him trying to shove it out of the room, but then it looks like he's just fucking the horse. Like
Yeah.
he did
Yeah.
himself no favors at all whatsoever.
Yes.
What I also really kind of loved is like the rest of the school, at least online, they really got behind that sort of bullying towards the heirs as well.
Mm,
Like it just goes to show that they're bandwagoners, I guess.
yeah.
Otherwise, if they were truly loyal to the heirs, there would be like campaigns to take all those posts down. They would also be on the hunt for
Hmm.
whoever's doing this. But I guess it just goes to show the young adult or even teenage antics where even even the heirs aren't really safe from the court of public opinion and everything, especially in the school too.
And I think also it's that power of like the mob mentality sort of thing, or
Oh, for
like
sure.
because it's like because everyone's laughing at them, then they feel safe to do that.
Yes.
Yeah, it's not just like because it's not just, oh, they've targeted one person and this one person is going after them, which is what it is, but
Mm.
because it's being made into this big group thing.
Well, good. And again, and like Caleb and Max and Seth and even Darius, they just don't seem to have those smarts to think that Darcy and Tori are capable of doing it. Like, it's crazy. And then we have the finality, big bad Darius, his revenge. Tori got so sweetly, much deserved. She are they because Darcy and Tori initially were felt beaten and felt,
Yes, they were going to run away.
and so yeah, Tori's big ploy was to try and get a last minute sort of revenge, and they needed money, and who had money but the fucking dragon hoarder that is Darius. So Tori sneaks into his room, steals some gold, decides to place chair or a table a bit too dubiously next to a fireplace, and lo and behold, up in flames it goes. But also in the process, she finds a nice shiny dagger weapon that sings to her.
That's calls to her. It's a shadow weapon, if you will. The only like, thing that I had a problem with this plan was because they're stealing like gold and stuff.
Yes.
I was like, how are you gonna explain this
How are you
when
going
you
to
get
convert
back to
that?
the mortal world? Yeah, how are you gonna
Convert it.
convert that?
Let's go to cash converters.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Oh
I'm
my
sure.
gosh.
Let's go to the mint or something and just be like, can I transfer this, please?
I
Yeah, I
guess,
do.
but
Yeah, I didn't understand that aspect, but I didn't care.
yeah.
I enjoyed it for the game
I
that
didn't
it
care. I
was.
enjoyed it. Yeah, I enjoyed it. I was like, haha, this is funny. But I was like,
And and again, they weren't suspected because there was supposed to be this big meeting or assembly happening about the nymph attack. And Nova was like, "You lose points if you don't attend," and then Darcy and Tori
oh
rightfully
yeah,
didn't attend because of their obvious near-death experiences. So I feel like they had a little bit of a part in there. But then
mm,
the Darius room on fire happening, and they did not suspect them whatsoever. Like they were the only two
yeah.
that were not there, as far as we're aware.
Well, I feel like no one would have noticed that they weren't there.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That's valid as
Like
well.
at that point, everyone's like, haha, like we scared
Yeah,
them.
yeah, yeah. And we have
Yeah,
bigger fish to fry now that the nymphs have infiltrated the school, essentially.
yeah.
Yeah, and I just also loved that Tori pinned it on that guy. I forget his name. It was so
Oh,
funny. It was
yes. Oh
Mike.
my God, I forget his
Mike.
name. No, that's too easy. It can't be Mike.
I don't know, but he's a friend of was a friend of Darius's, and Darius is like, "Where'd you get that?" Blah blah blah.
Yeah, but it was so good because, oh my God, what's her name? Tori, Darcy, whatever. They pinned it on this guy because he like had nude photos of them from when they were humiliated. Um, when they first got to Zodiac Academy. Um, yeah, so she was like, she pinned it on him because she's like, no, fuck you for having nudes. Like,
Yeah, and it's wrong, and it's wrong to distribute them as well without their
yeah,
consent. It's Yeah, it was great. I unfortunately didn't write the name down, but it was like one of those real geeky, nerdy sort of names. No offense.
yeah, no, I agree. It was. I
It's
just,
like someone. It was someone Hubert or Herbert or something.
oh, that's so close. Hang on, hang on, hang on. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna find it.
That's his last name. I'm pretty sure Herbert or
Yeah.
Hubert. Well, Kenzie finds the nerdy name. Um, the FIB agents are also trying to
Oh my God,
investigate.
I cannot get past the FIB.
I know, I keep thinking FBI, obviously,
Yeah,
at the top of the head. Again, it's trying to avoid any sort of
yeah,
product placement or, it's feified
yeah.
material. Yeah, they're trying to investigate this nymph attack. There's someone on Zodiac Academy grounds that is posing as a fae, and yeah, they're snooping around. I forgot what I was going to say again. Anyway, because they stole Darius's gold as well, there's a slight
Milton.
Milton, that's it.
Yes.
I knew it started with an M. Fucking Mike. Milton. Yeah, Milton Herbert or something. Yeah, they pinned it on him. It was great. He's like, it was left to me. Where's the letter? It's not here. It's so funny.
Yeah,
Blubbering
that's
little
right.
mess.
They planted some of the stolen items, such as a watch and a ring belonging to Darius, under the guise of a secret admirer. Yeah, and
Yes.
they left him a note, and they're like, "Wear this, like tomorrow, or whatever."
Yeah. And like
Yeah.
in 5 minutes after reading this, it's gonna self implode or whatever. It's gonna set itself on fire, which it did. And I
Yes.
think they also planted some gold under his mattress. And then when Darius caught sight of the watch and the ring and he confronted Milton, Milton's like blubbery and no, no, it wasn't me. Darius shoots up into Milton's room and lo and behold. And so now Milton's kind of ostracized from Darius's friend group, which is great revenge on everybody again all round.
Is it okay? No, never mind. I was just gonna say, is it in this book that um, um, they take Tori and Darcy take Milton into their group because they feel bad? Okay, well, that's coming.
Well, it's good to know that Tori and Darcy have sympathy and empathy,
Yes.
So it's being victims of ostracization, and extreme bullying. I think that'll do that to you.
They're just like, oopsie, because he's like just moping around, like has no
Yeah,
friends. No one will
yeah.
be his friend, and they're like, oh no.
Oh, may as well. They become, the friends of wayward Fae or something. Also, in this book, we learn a little bit more about obviously the Celestial Heirs individually to a degree. There was a few Caleb point of views. I think there was a Darius. There was pretty much a point of view from everybody. Um, when it came to like Max and Seth, it was more towards the Pitbull
Yeah.
um games, but throughout the book we had like a Darius Pov and then a few Caleb Povs. and we learn, yeah, some deeper things about them. Caleb actually doesn't really want to kill them, which is great, and he kind of felt bad that they were even trying to. Because in a
Yeah.
way, they're trying to not be like their parents, but then they're doing a shit job of showing it. So it gives an idea of how their parents rule.
I also think that yeah, like it's made pretty clear that yeah, Caleb doesn't outwardly want to kill them, um, but I feel like as well that the others don't really want to either. It's just that yeah, that's the kind of expectation on them that like, well, no, you're the Celestial Heirs, like your parents have been ruling for this long,
Mm. And it
blah blah
seems like
blah.
the order is coming from the commander in chief, so to speak, which is Darius's dad. Like he's wanting
Mm.
to drive, yeah, Tori and Darcy away. I mean, in his mind, kind of rightly so, because they're a threat to
Yeah.
his
And
position.
I feel like that's such the way when there's like when in like fantasy books like this, when there is like a council where everyone's supposed to sort of be equal, like one of them always kind of end up being the
Mm.
leader.
And but it's to him
And
because
like,
he's
yeah,
not.
really, I would let the dragon be the leader.
Yeah, yeah, naturally it's because he's the dragon. Yeah, he's the most quote unquote powerful being out of all of them. And in turn, I guess Darius is the quote unquote strongest and more kind of faux leader as well amongst the Celestial Heirs anyway, because they all turn to him and they go to him for solutions and ideas and they run things through him. So
Yes.
it's, yeah, kind of, it's mirrored the Celestial Council and the heirs and how they present themselves and how they run things sort of at Zodiac Academy as well.
I agree. I totally agree with that.
But then, yeah, by the same token, when we're in their point of views and in their monologues and stuff, they're saying they don't want to be like their parents, but they kind of have to be before they can overthrow them because
Mm.
the only way to really challenge a Fae is to fight them literally for their position. And
Hmm.
I feel like, yeah, the Celestial Heirs are still at a point in their lives where they're not quite there yet to be able to do it. And so
Yeah.
they're just parroting or mimicking whatever their families want in order to not only save themselves but also, yeah, build themselves up properly to in order to take over.
Yeah. Agree. Hard agree.
And so yeah, so Caleb, he feels a little bad. I forget Seth's. I don't think we got much of Seth in terms of how he feels about everything. It's just he got really itchy for the pit bull. Max, yeah, we got that the secret of his bastardness and how
Hmm.
he's kind of unloved by his stepmother, but his father is his number one sort of supporter. He's very protective of Max, which is really great in comparison to how, yeah, Darius's father, Lionel, treats Darius and everything.
Did we get in this Darius's brother,
Yes.
Xavier?
Yep.
Yes.
We have Xavier. And yeah, there was a strong emphasis throughout this book about bloodlines and having pure bloodlines and powerful orders and stuff only mates same within the same order group and everything. But it was so funny. It couldn't happen to a better family that Xavier's ended up being a Pegasus.
Did you think, and I don't want to read too much into this, but I felt like in this scenario, the Pegasus being his order form was kind of like an allegory for being gay.
I didn't
Like,
get
that's what
that.
it was giving
It was
for
giving
me.
a cheating along the way. Like I feel like someone has some explaining to do.
Oh, yeah,
When
true.
and when I say someone, I mean the mother, of course.
Mm.
But I mean, it could be seen that way too, because the Pegasus Order in general is just seen as the weakest and is seen as like a minority.
Yeah, and like rainbows and butterflies and stuff.
Yeah, yeah, and flying into the clouds and flying into a rain and rain flying through a rainbow makes them high. That was so cool. That's such a cool little tidbit. Um, I see it now though that you've said it out loud.
Or just like, yeah, he was so ashamed of, oh, yeah, I don't care. But like, he was like so ashamed, Lionel, of his son. And he was like, well, I have to hide him away.
It just could also
And
just be
yeah,
that
yeah,
sentiment that Pegasus are weak, inherently weak and lesser than a dragon. And like, if I was I feel like I'd feel the same way in a way if I had that mindset as Lionel, where it's dragon's number one, and then your other son is not dragon. One, I would be suspicious in general, and two, like Despair is not quite despair after all.
Dragon number one. Dragon
Dragon
number
number
one.
one. And honestly, there's a stark difference between a dragon and a Pegasus. Like, obviously, their bloodline is not completely pure. Well, at least Darius's family is, at least. And we also learn more about Orion and Darius's friendship, relationship, familialness. They have this sort of guardianship bond between each other, which is cool. So Orion is always out to protect Darius.
Well, he has to because they've got that little I don't even know what to call it.
They're in turn like magically branded together. With each other's opposing star sign. So
Yes.
Orion has a Leo on his arm or something, and then Darius has a Libra.
Yes.
See, and then with Astrum's tarot card, like the signs point between Leo and Libra, like that was my initial thought. Like those two are the answers to whatever's going on here. But I think that,
I see your reasoning.
But I think that was also a misdirection because it was quite obvious. And then something else. But yeah, I think either Darcy or Tori, they recognized that as well, and then they knew that not to be true. But as a reader, as you're like moving forward with them, the initial thought was, oh, between Leo and Libra, and look who has Leo and Libra fucking magical brands.
In this one, do you find out what that means?
It's like a guardian, it's called a guardian thing. I'm pretty sure.
No, what the answers lie between Leo and.
I don't think so. Yeah, I don't remember. I didn't write it down.
Okay.
If it was important,
well,
I would have written it down.
I won't tell you yet then until the next book, just in case.
Yeah, all good, all good. And then one of the main events that happen in this book, other than the notorious pitball event that happens towards the end of the book, is the Celestial Counselors like party.
Oh yeah.
So we get to meet the Celestial Heirs' parents. So we have Lionel, Acrux, and Catalina. We have like Max's
Catalina,
dad,
who just seems to want to fuck everyone, or she at least flirts with everyone.
Yeah, and I think there's some sort of other cheating happening in here because Lionel was fucking somebody, or was it Catalina? Because they have a little fuck sesh at some point during the party.
I actually think
feel like
both is correct.
I feel like it was with Melinda, which is Caleb's mother, the vampire. I feel like they have a little thing going on. Actually, no, that's actually true because Orion hears it all. Crazy. Anyway, a more sort of metaphorical, like incestuous nature within the familial sort of friend group. It is the Fae way, I guess. Unfortunately,
it is the Fae way.
And yeah, we learn more about Orion as well, and he had a sister that disappeared. There's some elusive sort of dialogues around it where she comes across as like a sort of sacrifice for something. We'll find out more about that potentially in the next book. I mean, not potentially, it probably will happen because they do bring up the lunar eclipse event or whatever, so that will probably be a main event, obviously, next book. We also meet Geraldine's father in this book, which is, I'm sure he sounded the same as Geraldine in the audiobook.
Yeah, he did. But he was lovely. I keep waiting for the shoe to drop on Geraldine, but I think she's legit good.
No, oh yeah, and I know I said last episode, and I say it so, I guess, stupidly, that I didn't think that Geraldine wanted to be friends with Tori and Darcy for them, but they just wanted the princess, to be a part of the princesses' lives and everything. But you know what? Geraldine is a real one. She is a ride or die, princess or otherwise. Especially she helps them bury Darius's like stolen treasure and everything, and like, yeah, she's just been so great. And I love that, Tori and Darcy, are finding full-fledged friendships that are genuine as well. For now, again, I'm just kind of maybe waiting for the ball to drop. Something like, no one is too preppy like that, But I'm glad to know that he sounded exactly like uh, Geraldine, but I suppose in a
did.
male voice.
And I imagine the father from Cinderella, the cartoon.
Okay, I don't think I'm familiar with the cartoon Cinderella, unfortunately.
Hang on. Cinderella animated.
Oh, yeah, him. Sorry, my bad. I'm an idiot. No, yes, yes. Obviously not as old.
Awkward. Yes,
And then
obviously, but
Tori and Darcy get duped by a Fox order person reporter, which is really
oh
cool that the
yeah.
Fox was a sly ass fucking journalist. Also, in a way, tries to manipulate and draw emotion from his victims,
hmm
interviewees.
I was like, how dare you?
And Orion was quick to kind of shoot that down, but it didn't really
Yeah,
help. It became
didn't
sort
happen.
of,
And
um,
it was giving Rita Skeeter.
yes, it was,
Yeah.
it was,
It was
which
like
is great.
saying that like she was essentially a sex pest that like Tori was or whatever, like she was a sex addict and stuff. It's like what? Like it's a literal teenager you're writing about.
Yeah, that's should be illegal. And yeah, but I just love that it doesn't drag Tori down. Like she even uses it to her advantage. Like if someone, I don't know, starts harassing or pokes fun at her, she's able to quip it into a nice comeback and everything,
Mm,
and as an insult, and that's a great sort of defense mechanism for her.
yeah.
And it just it goes to show there's so much of the world for them to still learn. Obviously, like this is like the first
I feel
month
like
or so.
they're so trusting
Yeah,
of
yeah. After,
like people who are nice to them, and it's like you need to stop being so trusting.
but
Like,
I think that also in that scenario came down to the Fox order aspect to it, where he was able to kind of siren-esque draw
mm,
trust and emotion from them. So he was able to use their um emotions against them, which obviously is not fair. Secondary main event, but probably the most important main event of all that happened in this book.
Pitbull, Pitbull, that I don't understand
It's
it.
like soccer-esque, but
The first
lacrosse,
time they
but
kept saying it, I was like, Pitbull? Like,
Pitbull, Mr. Worldwide.
yeah, yeah,
Like,
exactly. I was like,
side
hello.
note, I've been getting a lot of Pitbull concerts on my TikTok, and it's everyone dressed up in bald caps and suits, and it's
Same, I saw
glorious.
that.
It's glorious. Anyway, yeah, I don't understand Pitbull.
I was just imagining like lacrosse. I was like, okay.
Yeah, like
Like,
but with like magic, but like you can beat people
yeah,
up and they can go and like dodgeball in a way.
yeah, and it's co-ed.
Yeah, which is great because Geraldine
Yeah.
fucking deserves to be captain. And it's just so fun watching the heirs get humbled and humiliated this entire book. It was just chef's kiss. Um, so yeah, they verse another academy, which is like Starfall Academy or something. Bit of a rivalry there. Celestial Heirs are losing.
Which I was like, oh, cool. This is like Wizarding World Sitch. And I was like, yeah. And I was like, oh, I hope we get to see more of these other schools.
Yeah, yeah, it'd be cool. And everyone is dealing with their own again. Everyone is still dealing within the revenge of Tori and Darcy while playing, so everyone's slightly mentally and emotionally distracted from the game.
Mm,
So Seth is still playing, but he's itching like fuck.
he's itchy, yeah.
Caleb has like glitter all over his fucking
Uniform.
uniform because he's fucking a Pegasus. Max has
Allegedly.
allegedly, of course, Max has like griffin shit on him in his skin, which is painful and it causes, I don't know, like bruises and calluses and shit like that. I don't know, it's
Mm.
gross. Um, and then Darius is just pissed off, I guess, because of his whole room thing. I forget his whole deal. Oh, I guess it's because of his father and like being abused and stuff. Like he has that going on for him, which is a
Yeah, I mean
distraction.
that would not be fun.
That would do it. I'll do it. It'll take you mentally out of it for a minute. Um, and Orion the coach, which is funny. Orion, I understand what you mean last episode when you said you don't really understand him, because half the time he's so angry that I fear for his blood pressure and, he's gonna pop a vessel somewhere. But then he's like chill sometimes, especially when he's with Darcy. So like I'm just confused with the extremity of his emotions.
I was like, it was giving to me like a mix of Hunt from Crescent City and Dimitri from Vampire Academy.
Ooh. I can understand that comparison, and I
Thank
agree. It's like a merge.
you. Yeah.
Like if these two characters had a baby, boom, it's
Mm.
Orion. I agree. But I loved Orion's pep talk as well, because there was a point of view from him again, but it's all from the perspective of the Pitbull
Yeah.
game. And he's like revving everybody up. He's like, "You guys, you got to be in this, or I'm gonna fucking bench you." And then Geraldine like kicks ass, and they're like, "She should be captain," and it's just so great.
And then Tori and Darcy like obviously want them to win, but also like they want to make them suffer.
Again, like these guys tried to kill you. Like, why do you forgive them? So easily, or look past it so
Yeah,
easily. I don't understand.
yeah. And then
It,
this is where there's a nymph attack, isn't there?
a very significant nymph attack. Yeah.
Yes. They have infiltrated the pitbull.
Yeah, there's a huge attack. Obviously, and earlier in the book, Orion had a lesson on nymph attacks because of the FIB coming in trying to investigate and everything. He gave everyone a sort of like safety tip where you either run or you run in your order form and don't fight because these guys are still, for a lack of a better word, like freshmen, like they don't know how to combat against nymphs, so they're trying to give them the best escape methods possible. And in the end, in the beginning, it started as like a scattered mess, everyone everywhere, nymphs attacking left and right, and then the tide turned, and like the heirs and everybody was in their order forms just ripping nymphs apart, and even Tori and Darcy were doing their best to help. And that's where we see a glimpse of Darcy's order form too, something to do with fire and wings.
Mm-hmm.
She saves Orion, I believe.
Yes.
And then, yeah, Tori in turn saves Darius to a degree too. I wonder if it's before or after this. I think actually even before the nymph attack, Darcy and Tori declare that they want the throne as their birthright because they've been so back and forwards, or no, they've actually been adamant they don't want it. But in this, something about after the Pitbull tournament and seeing, the heirs so humiliated, they feel like they can take their throne
They
as
can
is their
take it,
birthright.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
then and so that scares the heirs, of course, because they initially, tried to drive them away and cause so much animosity, but now they have to like fully, in a way, fight them. And then that's when the nymphs attack. That's right. And then yeah, after Darcy saving Orion and Tori saving Darius, Darius sort of declares that Tori and Darcy are worthy, as Fae in general, not necessarily worthy as queens for the future, but they can hold their own and they are powerful enough to fend for themselves to some degree, which is great slow development in my opinion.
Yes, but I mean, it's like, did it really have to take them literally saving your ass
Yeah, I know.
for you to real like, yeah, it's just one of those things.
I think it's just that the antagonist sort of character archetype.
Yeah, of course.
And I guess Darius being prepped up his entire life of being, powerful fire wielder and stuff, and he's a dragon in general, and like everything about him just screams super powerful, and yet yeah, he got humbled um by someone like Tori who's only been in this world for maybe like a few weeks, and she's able to protect him to some degree. It's giving like in Akatar when Amarantha was defeated by the illiterate human girl. It's that sort
Yes.
of comparison,
Yes.
which I think is great. And yeah, that's where we left off. We end for this book. The Great Nymph Attack. Defiance, revenge, and I don't know a final word to kind of end it off for Darcy and Tori, but alright, shall we go to the stars that listen?
We shall go to the stars that listen. The
Unless you
stars
have
that
any final thoughts or comments.
No, I'm excited to see where this series goes. I'm excited to see if it's going to define itself as, pardon me, as like new adult or young adult.
Oh, you're just waiting to see that definition. I
Yes.
feel like it has to be new adult with the way the smut has been written and like the use of cock and everything like that. I feel like
Yes.
it can't be young adult.
Yeah.
Young adult is a vulgar gesture and fade to black.
Yes.
New adult is graphic sex scenes, dare I say, and orgies. But yeah, it would be interesting to see if there is a tonal shift in the future, a la Akatar. and Silver Flames. I really hope there's not that sort of stark contrast in tone, but we shall see. You're ahead of me, so you can always let me know. Just be like, heads up.
Sure. All right, we'll go to the Stars That Listen. The Stars That Listen is a segment we do at the end of the podcast where we go to Goodreads and we find 5-star reviews and 1-star reviews that we either agree with or we want to fight with. And we always start with the 1 stars because we like to end on a positive note. So, Claire, if you'd like to go first.
All right, I have a big boy paragraph, which even though I enjoyed the book, I really agree with this though. But it just goes to show I'm just easily entertained and I don't care. All right. The comment is titled Exposition Dump. Thought the second book would be better, but once again, nothing happened till the end. The twins had 0 character development. They still don't know their order, don't know how to use their powers, can't decide whether they hate or love the heirs. The heirs aren't much better. They spend the whole book wondering, who would go... Sorry. The heirs aren't so much better. They spend the whole book wondering, who would dare go against us, and don't even suspect or consider the 2 people who would want revenge. All the characters act like 13-year-olds, ? They're supposed to be 18, yet they act like little kids in the playground with a couple of sex scenes thrown in, which doesn't make the book quote-unquote adult, just cringy, because they act like naughty kids straight after. The amount of exposition in the book is awful. There are supposed to be new adult books, so I'm sure we can read between the lines and don't need to be told every little thing. Once again, there's grammar and spelling errors that just take you out of it. That's just lazy. The very end was slightly more interesting like the last book, but it doesn't make up for the fact the rest of the book was boring and dumb as hell.
Jeez.
I know, what a whopper. A
I
valid
mean, I
review.
agree, but...
I agree,
Yeah.
but I'm easily entertained, so I'm in this series so far.
Yeah.
I'm locked in.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree, but that was the root.
Alright, what about your 1-star review, Kenzie?
Someone please get them an editor. It's not that hard. There are plenty of people who would do it for free. And what the fuck did I just read? This has to be one of the worst books I have read in years. I unfortunately didn't find a second of this or much of the first book to be very enjoyable. Everyone said you just need to get past the first book and second gets so much better, but I have to say I strongly disagree. I don't think I'll be wasting my time with any of this. There's one that's not in English, so I'm going to see if I can translate it. It's in Swedish. Apparently the authors don't have anyone to proofread for them, and they don't believe in editing either. Now I understand why the books are written like a Wattpad fanfic.
And that was the Swedish translated comment.
That was a Swedish one, yeah.
Also, really quick topic, but I saw a TikTok today, but it's something that you've mentioned before when you've read books, is that these days books are, or someone's noticed that books are written like a movie as opposed to a book.
Yeah, they're written like they're a screenplay.
Yeah, because and then some of the comments were like, instead of like he took a sip, like he raised the glass to his lips or something, and it's like one's an action and one's just like you got to figure out, like use your imagination to see how they took a sip or whatever. And yeah, because I remember, specifically, I forget which book, and you mentioned that it was read like a screenplay or a movie or something, and it kind of took you out of it. I don't know if Zodiac Academy falls into this for me yet, but it was just
I
something.
mean, it doesn't feel like that for me at all yet.
Yeah, good. But I just found it funny that, like, obviously you're not the only one who thought about that, and I just thought, hey, I know Kenzie had this thought.
Thank you. All right, would you like to go to your 5 stars?
I'm usually a black and white person. I either like a character or I don't. But these writers play my emotions like a violin. I don't understand how I can wish for the brutal murder of a character and then kind of like them and then go back to wishing they would. Oh my god, I can't read. I don't understand how I can wish for the brutal murder of a character and then kind of like them and then go back to wishing their demise. The absolute satisfaction of the revenge plot is perfect. And then just like underneath it was like, it took me a year, ? Exclamation mark. But I got through it and I really enjoyed it.
Fair. I haven't been obsessed with this. I haven't been this obsessed with the series in years. And then I apologize for the person I am about to become because this series is officially my newest obsession.
Lovely. And like understandable because there's a bit of everything. It's like Hogwarts, and
Yeah.
it's just other fantasy genres. It's got a bit of everything. Elemental magic, animal shifting,
Mm.
mythology elements to it too as well. It's a bit of
Yes.
everything. Fun for everyone. Romance, revenge,
I love it.
socio-political demise.
Yes. So that is where we will love you and leave you. Um, as always, you can find us on Instagram, letterbox_book_club. From there, our link tree is in our bio, where you'll find us in all places, Spotify, YouTube, etc., etc.
Hmm. Yeah, stay
Thank you
safe
all
out
for
there.
tuning in. We'll see you next week for something.
Yeah, we'll be blocking, I guess is the best way to describe it, these books.
Yeah.
Instead of pumping out the entire series, we'll go 2 weeks and then we'll do a week of something else. So yeah, next week we don't know what's happening yet, but whatever is out will be out.
Yes. Stay safe out there.
Stay safe. Don't be lured by a siren song.
Yeah. Bye bye now.
Bye.